Ammunition Hill, or Givat Moshe, is a memorial site for 182 soldiers from the Paratroop Brigade, the Harel Brigade, the Jerusalem Brigade, and the Air Force that died here during the Six-Day War. At this site, 37 Israeli paratroopers and 71 Jordanian soldiers died in a bloody battle for the hill and for the occupation of this hill. I'm not going to go into details about the heroics that happened during the battle and that, but I'm going to discuss two things. The first thing is, why did it happen here? What was so important about Ammunition Hill that the Israelis felt they had to take it at almost any cost? Okay? And the second thing, there are a couple of controversies about this battle and how it was conducted and who conducted it that I think is important to understand in the context. And I'm going to state it now and I'll state it again at the end. That's to take nothing away from the bravery and courage of the individual soldiers who fought here, on both sides in fact. So the first question, to understand why the battle happened here, you need to go back to 1948. And we learned a little bit about the city line, but Moshe Dayan and Abdullah Al-Til met and divided up the city into West Israeli Jerusalem and East Jordanian Jerusalem. I'll show you over here. Okay, you can all see the map here with the green and the red lines where they drew it. You can see the no man's lands marked in between the green and the red lines. Okay. You can also see down below over here, you can see the UN government house compounds, the demilitarized zone. Okay. And you can see over here, this little enclave here is the Mount Scopus enclave, which you've heard about quite a bit already, so I won't go into detail with. In all Israel's plans, they recognized that the Jordanians, if there was a future conflict after 48, the Jordanians would want to take that first. And therefore, in all their military plans, they addressed it on how they would secure it, how they'll get troops there to defend it, and how they would make sure they didn't lose the enclaves. Now, the Jordanians knew that. So what did they do? They created 3 defensive positions, okay? French Hill, at about here, Givat Tov Moshe, Givat Miftar over here, and Ammunition Hill, where we are over here. The distance from the Israeli lines to Mount Scopus is only 1.25 kilometers, okay? Ammunition Hill was a strong point sitting right between them. So if Israel wanted to secure Mount Scopus complex, they had to attack it, and they had to do it quickly because they believed, incorrectly in fact, but they believed that the Jordanians would attack that first. Okay, so that's why they had to attack it. We'll learn about the battle and all the details of why, what happened and the bravery and the mistakes in that. But what's important to know is that there were a number of controversies about the battle, and I'll mention 2 of them. The first one is that the people who attacked it was a paratrooper brigade which had just come up from Sinai, where they were supposed to be fighting. They arrived here. They didn't have detailed maps. In fact, the only map they had of Ammunition Hill, the Ammunition Hill was the size of a 1 shekel coin basically. It was tiny. They had no details. The intelligence they had about the Jordanian forces was incorrect and very sketchy. They didn't understand the terrain, and they were expected to attack a frontal attack against heavily defended position at night, which was at 2:30 in the morning. So already they were up against the gun in terms of trying to achieve their target. Okay, it was a tough thing. The second one is a bit more interesting. It's more about military tactics. You know, the idea of attacking a defended position is the equivalent of saying, I have a brick wall in front of me, and instead of walking round the brick wall, I'm going to blow my way through it because it's the quickest way to get there. And that's what they asked the paratroopers to do. They asked them to do a direct frontal attack to unknown forces that they were facing at night on terrain they didn't know. If you ask the commanders of the Harel Brigade and the Jerusalem Brigade, they'll tell you a different story. And we mentioned one of them already. Okay, and I'll read from this book, Among Lions by J. Robert Mosket, okay, which is wonderful individual stories about individuals in the Six-Day War around Jerusalem. But yeah, so afterwards, Colonel Ben-Ari was highly critical of the costly battle for Ammunition Hill. When the paratroopers attacked, I was still busy at Bidu and Nebi Samuel, which is further north. Okay. After about 4 hours, I was at Tel Al-Ful, and they should have told the paratroopers to stop. I could have done the job easily by coming from the north, from the side, or from the back. I could have done it easily from Miftah Hill, Givat Miftah. Tank fire would have finished off the Battle of Ammunition Hill in a minute. That was a mistake. You tell them to continue, continue, continue. You have to change your plans when the battlefield develops differently than you thought. It was a mistake. And the paratroopers paid dearly for that, which I could have done easily. Somebody didn't think. Sometimes you get trapped in your own thoughts and you stick with them without thinking of alternatives. The commander of the Jerusalem Brigade, Colonel Amitai, said it slightly differently and a bit more diplomatically. He said, we usually don't like attacking strong points, but this was the shortest route to Mount Scopus. So while the battle took place and the result has laid the narrative in our collective memory about the bravery of the Six-Day War and the paratroopers in that, there are controversies. And a little story about it. The memorial site was opened in 1974. A man from South Africa visited it in the mid-70s, and he brought back a gift for his son of a paratrooper beret that I think he bought on site, but he bought on that same trip, and he did visit that site. I used to use that beret for Purim dress-ups, and I've kept it all ever since, and I've still got it. In fact, I've got it here. And it was triggered off the interest in military history ever since. And it doesn't fit so well anymore because I was very small back then. But
your friends grow.